guys, so listen, this is not a video I was excited about making, but with the Alec Baldwin stuff going on, I felt like I at least owed it to the handful of people who support this channel to give you definitive evidence that you can rely on in regards to the Alec Baldwin shooting. Now, I happen to own 3 revolvers that function in exactly the same way that the revolver we're told was used on the set of Rust. The revolver that we're meant to believe Alec Baldwin used when he accidentally shot the cinematographer. Alright, so Alec Baldwin says that he did not pull the trigger. Okay? He did not pull the trigger. And so this revolver here, it's minus the cylinder and it's minus the barrel. Neither of those are necessary for the basic component of the weapon to function. So I'm using it in this way so that there's absolutely no reason for anyone to think that I'm fiddling with a dangerous weapon while doing this. Alright, so Alec Baldwin said that he did not pull the trigger. Alright. He said he pulled the hammer back. Alright, if you pull the hammer, there are 3 positions for the hammer to be in with a weapon like this. Position number 1 is short of half-cock. You're familiar with the common phrase, he went in half-cocked. If you go in half-cock, you can't. If you go in half-cock, you can't shoot. That's why it's a term of abuse. All right. So I pull the hammer back, 1 click, and I cannot pull the trigger. Cannot. You understand? I've pulled the trigger back 1 click, and I cannot pull the trigger. Alright? Stick a piece of wood in there so you can see that I'm really trying to pull it. I cannot. There's a second position. Position number 2. Cannot pull the trigger. Cannot pull the trigger. I'm afraid of damaging the weapon by doing this. Especially since I'm certain not to make any money from this fucking video. Thank you, YouTube, you motherfuckers. I can't pull the trigger. Trigger position number 3. Can pull the trigger. So, trigger position number 1, cannot pull the trigger. Hammer position number 2, cannot pull the trigger. Hammer position number 3, can pull the trigger. So, does this mean Alec Baldwin intentionally or negligently murdered someone? I don't think so. Frankly, I don't personally think so. Why? Well, because Alec Baldwin is an old man and an actor who's been in many movies involving prop firearms. His experience is that there should be a master firearms expert who hands him the prop weapon that he's intended to use. He should be handed a weapon that is safe. I realize this is not a popular opinion. He should be handed a weapon that is safe. But he was clearly handed a weapon that was not safe. Alec Baldwin is not a firearms expert. Alec Baldwin is an actor. Alright? So, you know, I'm someone who doesn't know anything about guns. You hand me this, you say it's safe. Cool, it's safe. I can do whatever I want with it. I don't know how far I have to pull the hammer back. I can do whatever I want with it. I'm an actor. My job is to pretend to be a gunfighter, not to be a real gunfighter. In fact, I'm Alec Baldwin, I'm so accustomed to being an actor on the set, working with guns that look and feel like real guns, that why should I ever be afraid that if I pull the trigger that it will hurt someone? We're pretending. This is pretend. No, it is not Alec Baldwin who's responsible. It's not Alec Baldwin who's responsible. Alright, that being the case, in really, really real life, should Alec Baldwin have known the gun that was in his hand? Should he have known how it functions? Yes. Should he have understood whether or not it was actually hot or not? Yes. He should have. But who was really responsible for the death of that woman and the injury of the man who was behind her is the prop master. And I can tell you that the prop master was a blue-haired SJW piece of shit, and that's what no one is going to talk about. That is what no one is going to talk about. Alright? Now, to be clear, and let me put my gun together just so that I'm not going to put the back of the cylinder in because I don't want to break my weapon, alright? Because I don't make any money on this shit. So it's not worth my while. Let me just put it together. Alright. Click 1, cannot pull the trigger. Click 2, cannot pull the trigger. Click 3, can pull the trigger. So, one of two things happened. Either Alec Baldwin pulled the trigger all the way back while depressing the trigger and not realizing he was depressing the trigger, or the gun was defective. The internal components of the gun was defective. Now that is possible. That is possible. Now what that means is that your prop master is guilty of manslaughter. Alright? And that's the end of the fucking story. That's the end of the fucking story. But what they're going to do is they're going to paint this in such a way so that the general public believes that any gun could just go off at any time. That every stored weapon, every weapon owned by every responsible gun owner can just go off at any time. That's the way the story is going to be spun. Because this is not about anything other. This is just another attempt to disarm the public, all right? This is just another attempt to disarm the public, to frighten the people into thinking that guns are generally unsafe so that we will give them up. Alright? And to understand why this is being done, all you have to do is look at Australia. Look at what is happening to the people in Australia, and you will understand why this is being done. Well, you won't understand why it's being done. You'll understand how it's being done. To understand why it's being done, then you have to have a much deeper realization about the people who truly run this world. The people who think they own you and who think they own the planet. You won't understand why this is being done until you understand the people who think they own you and the people who think they own the planet. And for that, I don't know what to tell you. Go watch some Mark Passio videos, or go read the Bible. Go read the Bible. And short of that, I don't know what else to tell you guys.